Hey guys, it's Christine, also known as IvyWinter. Thank you for joining me for a non-Disney video. I put out kind of a call on Twitter saying that I know a lot of you know that I suffer from IBS, and I have for 6 years, and in general, dealing with a chronic illness is really difficult. And I've talked to a lot of you, and it seems I'm not the only one. Whether it's something similar to what I'm dealing with or something totally different, it sounds like there are a lot of you in my community who are dealing with the day in and day out of having a chronic illness, or you know somebody dear to you, a friend, a family member who is dealing with it, and you're just trying to figure out a way to help or just be better about it. And so I wanted to start talking a little bit more about my experiences with it, because I just think that sometimes it's really helpful to hear that you're not the only person going through these kinds of things. And in a way, it's also almost kind of therapeutic for me to talk about it. So today I actually want to talk about maintaining friendships and relationships when you have a chronic illness, because it is incredibly hard. It is hard when you promise to be somewhere and you can't be because it just happens to be a bad day. And it's hard when you feel like your friends or family members or romantic interests don't understand what you're going through. And it does take a lot of effort to maintain relationships with people when you're also trying to take care of yourself. So one of the things that I struggle with a lot with IBS is not knowing every morning if it's going to be a good day or a bad day. Unfortunately, I would say a lot of days start out for me poorly. And I do my best to wake up early and try to deal with it and get out the door for whatever it is that I need to go do. But there are plenty of times I've had to cancel. My brother's in a band and I've had to cancel seeing his shows. My friends might want to go out and I've had to cancel doing that. I've canceled on Yankee games, I've canceled on brunches, I've canceled on so many different kinds of outings because I seriously cannot get out the door, whether it's because I'm in pain or because I'm, just trapped in the bathroom. That sounds weird, like I locked myself in the bathroom. That's not what happens, but there are days where I know that I can push through and I can make it, and there are days when I know that I can't. And it's tough because when you're constantly canceling, it comes off like you're flaky. It comes off like you're not interested in hanging out, or that you're just always doing this. And sometimes I personally worry that people are gonna take my IBS as an excuse, because they could sit there and say, well, how do I know she's really not feeling well and she's not just using it as an excuse to get out of things? I think the one thing a lot of people who don't have a chronic illness need to understand is a lot of us, more than anything, want to go out and be social people because it's so hard for us. And we want more than anything for it to be easy and to be able to get on a train or a bus or get in the car and get to where we need to go. And it is never an excuse. At least in my case, I've never used it when I've been feeling fine to not go somewhere, because I feel like that would just diminish what I'm actually going through and would just make me super untrustworthy. And I don't think most people who have a chronic illness are trying to lie to anybody and use it as a crutch, because so badly we want to go do whatever that thing is. Like, I have spent days just crying because I wanted to be wherever that thing was. I had a really bad day when I was in Portugal a couple of years ago with my now in-laws, and it was so embarrassing and terrible to have to tell them and my brother-in-laws and everything, like, I feel sick and I cannot come with you into the city. And they understood and they said, stay here. And so I stayed in the Airbnb and literally just like cried for 2 hours because I felt like I was missing my vacation. I felt like I was letting them down. I was just in this Airbnb all by myself, knowing that people were enjoying themselves and I couldn't be there with them. And it's a very emotionally tough thing. So I think what people who don't deal with it but are dealing with people canceling on them have to understand is, like, I think we feel the most terrible of all. Like, we feel guilty and we want to be there and there's just a moment where you have to accept that you can't, you know. And I think in those situations, it's a matter of, do I go and feel miserable and then this whole thing is miserable, or do I stay home and take care of myself, and at least I'm not like weighing down the event or whatever it might be. But because of that, I know that I need to step up when it comes to some other things, whether that means being there through chatting with people every day or making phone calls or whatever. I know that, you know, sometimes I have to push myself more on bad days if I've canceled a couple of times because I want to see this person, or I miss my friend, or, you know, whatever it might be. But I think the big thing from this is, like, it's not that I don't want to hang out, it's that my chronic illness doesn't, you know, like my illness is just like, nope, not today, don't feel like being social, and so I have to just accept that sometimes. I think that the best way to deal with this kind of thing and feeling like maybe you're distanced from friends or family or someone you're dating is just to be honest. I think a lot of the times, if you can be honest about what you're going through, people will understand. If you aren't telling them that you have a chronic illness and you keep canceling, then yeah, they're gonna think that you just don't want to see them, and that's going to really hurt your relationships. But if you want to build a good friendship, or if you want to really be with someone, you need to just be honest about what you're going through, because you're not giving them the opportunity to understand, and you're not giving them an opportunity to get to know you in the sort of way that would build a better relationship anyway. I think another thing just to remember is, you know, if that other person gets frustrated, to not get angry with them, because it is very hard to understand what someone's going through if you're not in their shoes. And I think a lot of the times they're just frustrated with the fact that you're suffering more than they are frustrated with you. Like, there are times where my husband and I butt heads a little bit, because he gets upset if I say, like, I can't go to your friend's birthday party tonight, this isn't gonna happen, and you should just go without me. And he gets upset not because he's upset at me, he's upset because he wants to go with me. He wants me to go and have a good time. He gets upset because he doesn't understand why I have to suffer with this, just as much as I don't understand why I have to suffer with this. But I think it's frustrating when someone loves you in any way and sees you suffering, because they don't want that for you. So just remember that people get frustrated or butt heads with you or argue with you, chances are it's just because they're almost frustrated on your behalf of what you're dealing with. So I think the biggest way that I have kind of maintained things is just honesty, and then, you know, trying to be there as much as I can when I am feeling well. And even sometimes when I'm not, I know the days that I can maybe postpone a little and still make it to something, I'll do it, you know. But then I'll also be incredibly honest and say, like, today was a rough day. Like, last weekend I had to go to brunch with a bunch of friends, and I was 20 minutes late, and I said, hey, sit down at the table. This was like in a group text, and I straight up said, my stomach is not okay today. We are coming, but I'm gonna be late. And they were totally like, oh, that's fine, take your time, we'll see you when we see you. And that's it. Like, you just need to be honest and let these people know that you love them and you do want to see them and be with them and spend time with them, but sometimes you just can't. Anyway, those are my thoughts on relationships and chronic illness. It is definitely something I struggle with quite a lot, and I really, really am a proponent of honesty. If you deal with chronic illness and you have a certain way that you try to maintain your friendships or your relationship with who you're dating with, or even just family, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know your stories. If you like this video, then you should like it. If you want to see more like this, let me know. You know, I've been kind of in the air of like how much I want to create content like this, because I know a lot of people come to me for Disney stuff. And so if you like it, and let me know to keep creating stuff like this, because I will. I was thinking about doing it, you know, once or twice a month. So if this is something that interests you, let me know, because I'll keep doing it. Because, you know, life isn't just all Disney. I mean, it's 95% Disney, but the other 5% we can still talk about. Thanks, guys, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.